All right, so now that I have some miles on this thing and I took it on like long trips and stuff, I'm gonna talk about the fuel mileage. Let's turn it on real fast. So you can see I have almost 3,800 miles now. So I'm talking about the fuel mileage wise, as far as like the bars and how much miles I'm getting, and and how much it shows on here. So actually, let's go to how many gallons there is. So I've ridden this thing, I topped this thing all the way up, and I've ridden it, 10 hours a day, whatever it is, on my road trip down to Cabo. And looking at this number here, it will go all the way to 2.7 gallons is the most it gets. When it gets to 2.7, you have like a couple miles, literally like a couple miles before it'll just go dead on you. And I did run out of gas once in Mexico. I ended up pushing the bike for I think like half a mile before someone pulled over and hooked me up with some gas. But when this thing gets, and this is when you fully topped off the fuel. When I say fully topped off the fuel, I mean fully topped off the fuel. When I was taking my trip down to Mexico, I didn't just go to where the hole is right here. I went beyond that, and I went all the way up to the edge of the neck almost. So I totally topped it off. So when I did that, my fuel mileage basically every time that the gallons right here showed 2.7. Once it got to that 2.7, you literally have like a couple miles, and it will, you'll run out of gas. Literally will run out of gas at that point. So that's, if you're not sure as far as like whatever miles you have, if you reset this each time you fill up the tank, you know that if it gets to 2.7, you use up 2.7, that's it, you're done. So this, when this right here gets to 2.2, once it gets to 2.2, after like also a few miles, your empty indicator will start flashing. So the bottom, the last block down there, it will start blinking. So once that starts blinking, just past, just basically 2.2, then you're able to get to 2.7 before the bike basically dies. So that's that's about what, half a gallon, according to this indicator anyways. But from filling up the tank, from whatever it says here, 2.7 to filling up the tank, I've never gotten 2.7 gallons, at least not to my calculation. To my, on my calculations, I only, as far as filling the tank, I've only gotten 2.5 gallons. So there is that discrepancy between the pump, the number that says on the pump, versus the number that says down here. Okay, so just because it says 2.7 in here doesn't mean it is 2.7. I think it's only 2.5 in reality. Again, 2.2, the last fuel bar over here will light up. It will start blinking, and also it doesn't just blink here. Also, this gas light indicator down here, you guys can't see, but if you have this bike, actually you can't see it. You kind of see it's in the shadow right now. But anyways, right here, the gas pump icon will light up as well. So besides this blinking down here, the last bar blinking, this way here will also light up when you get to 2.2 miles. So that's how much you know. So let's change to let's see, my trip A, trip B. Let's leave that trip A. So as far as what my average miles per gallon I was getting throughout my whole trip, I think I was getting like 60 miles per gallon. So let's look at trip B. The trip B was my trip. Let's see, I used up, so what's this? This is average miles per gallon. So that's my trip B. So that's what it was showing. This how many gallons I used, 57.3 gallons on that trip. Average miles per hour for that trip was 47. And you have to remember that these miles numbers is not accurate because I'm using a taller gearing. So my taller gearing is 7% taller. So whatever number here, you have to add 7% to that. Because when you use a taller gearing, it makes your speed show slower than it actually is. So whatever number here, it actually has to be higher. So anyways, yeah. So that's so for you folks that are not sure how much gas you could have left, looking at your how many gallons you used down here for your bars. Just know that once you get to 2.2 gallons, you have about half a gallon left, and it just depends on how you ride. When individually, from as far as like depending on certain sections of the trip and how fast I was going, how much RPMs, and my numbers. When you look at my trip numbers, the RPM I first started out riding, I think at 8,000 RPM. When I was riding at 8,000 RPM, the whole time. This is for one tank, 8,000 RPM on one tank, pretty much the whole time on the freeway. I think I was riding into a headwind as well. So 8,000 RPM headwind, and also I had my electric jacket liner on, so that puts a load on the engine, so you lose less gas, or you use more gas, I should say. My fuel indicator light came on at 100 and let's see, what was it? 100 and I think like 108 or 110 miles. It lit up. It started to light up, right? So I was, that was pretty short. The time that I did run out of gas in Mexico, when it did run out of gas, I actually got 155 miles on that particular tank, because in that one I wasn't revving up at 8,000 RPM. I was revving around somewhere between 6 and 7. So after the first day I was revving at 8,000 RPM, and I found out, oh man, the gas mileage sucks at 8,000. I started going at 7,000, and 7,000 wasn't that great either. So I started going a little bit less. So I was bouncing between 6 and 7,000 RPMs. That was the best mileage to speed. If I went below 6,000 RPM, the mileage was even better, but the speed was just too slow. So I was going between 6 and 7,000 RPM, and so on that I think I averaged about 60 miles a gallon or so when I was in that range. If I go like at 5,000 RPM, I think I averaged like 70 or over 70 miles a gallon, and at 8,000 RPM I only averaged, like, the worst average I got was 39 miles a gallon. So I think that was like 8,000 plus RPMs. So that was big jumps from 8,000 RPM, where it gets 39, basically 40 miles a gallon, to say 5,000 RPM, 3,000 RPM difference. I'm getting 70 plus miles a gallon, like 72 or 73 miles a gallon, something like that. So that's a big difference, in 3,000 RPMs there. So yeah, so if you want a good gas mileage, don't go at 8,000 RPM, and 7 is not that good either. 6, below 7 is pretty decent. 6 pretty decent, and if you really want to be conservative and go for high numbers, 5,000 is pretty good. Let's see, what else. I think that's it as far as fuel mileage goes. All right, thanks for watching.